Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be joining us from, and welcome to AMN Healthcare International's live show, Onwards and Upwards, where we discuss everything a global healthcare worker needs to know about living and working in the United States. Today is day 4 of Career Week. Yay, Career Week. We have made it. We've had some amazing shows. We've had the AMN Academy. We've had all about recruitment. We've highlighted one of our employers, Methodist Le Bonheur, out in Tennessee. And today, to round us out, we are going to be talking about the journey of 2 international nurses to the USA. I am personally very excited for today. I know we have some amazing stories to share. So I hope you all buckle up and we are going to get started. So let's bring out our nurse guests.
Hi.
Good morning. How are you? How are you, Sushmita?
Yeah.
I'm good.
We are very excited to have you both here with us today. If you are joining along, please let us know where you are watching from in the comments. And please let us know if you have any questions for Lydia or Sushmita. I'm going to be monitoring the chat. I see we have Arlene saying good morning. Good morning, Arlene. If you have any questions for our 2 lovely nurses, we are going to be taking them. So let's get started. Lydia, why don't we get started with you? Can you just tell us briefly about yourself, when you came to the US, where you currently live, and if you brought anybody else with you?
Hi. My name is Lydia Jocelyn Anomanso. I started my nursing 17 years ago in Ghana with a focus in medical surgical nursing. Right now, I just completed my 2 years contract with the AMN at Rhode Island Hospital, now rebranded as Brown University Hospital.
Okay, well, very exciting. Well, congrats on completing your contract. I think we're all very excited to hear more about your journey and a little bit more about what it's like to live in Rhode Island. I've actually never been there, so I'm excited to learn. Sushmita, you want to go next?
Yeah. First of all, hi everyone. I'm Sushmita Basnit. I'm from Nepal. I started my nursing career in Nepal. I started working there since 2015, and I came to US in 2023. So it's been like 1.5 years, almost done with my half of the contract. So I will be working here till 2026 June. I'm currently working in Sanford Health. It's in Bemidji, Minnesota. So I'm working in Women's and Children department here. So so far so good. It's going all fantastic.
Okay, exciting. Well, I am excited to hear from both of you all about where you both live, how the journey was to come here. You now have both been here for quite some time. So I would say you are a little bit of veterans and you can give our nurses some good advice. As I was introducing the show, I think I was so excited to get started and to meet you both. I forgot to introduce myself. So, my name is Danielle Friedman. I am the host of Onwards and Upwards. I've been with AMN for about 4 years now, but I've been doing international recruitment for a little bit longer than that. And I'm actually an immigrant myself. I originally moved here from South Africa with my family in 2000. So, I have been here for 25 years, pretty much the whole time in California. So I have not been to Minnesota and Rhode Island because the US is huge and it would take forever to get everywhere, but I would love to go there and I'm excited to learn more. So before we jump in and hear both of your stories, we've now spent a few days talking on Career Week about how to get to the US, about some of our employers. And some of you who may have been following along are going to be inspired to apply at our website, amnhealthcare.com/international. So we will also drop that link in the chat. I see we also have lots of people who have started joining us now. I see Gladys is watching from the Philippines. Glacia is watching from Jamaica. Abdullah from Gambia. Animika is from Nepal. So hello to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Please feel free to put in the chat your questions for Lydia and Sushmita. And let's get started. So Lydia, let's start with you. Why did you decide to move to the US?
Oh, well, in as much as I love what I do as a nurse, it got to a point or a moment I wanted to change. So I discovered America had the highest standard of medicine. And so, how do I get there? I spoke to a friend, and then a friend referred me to OGP AMN. And then I got on board with AMN, passed my NCLEX, and then that was how come I found myself in the United States of America.
Okay, that's great. And can you tell us a little bit more about your journey? Did you come with your family? Did you come alone? How was that process?
Very well. Actually, I came with my spouse. During the process, I got pregnant. So I came in pregnant at the stage of 6 months. And then I started my orientation. However, I had to pause and then deliver my baby. That was, I think, 3 months. I came in at 6 months, so 3 months, then I delivered. And then I continued with orientation. And then now I'm done with orientation, but I still have an offer with the hospital.
Wow, that is amazing. Moving here at 6 months pregnant, I'm sure that must have been a little stressful, but your baby girl looks beautiful. What's her name?
Karen.
Karen. Oh, cute. She looks adorable. Well, I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that whole process. I'm sure a lot of viewers might be in a similar situation. So I'm very excited to hear a little bit more about that. Sushmita, can you tell us a little bit about your journey to come to the US?
So, like I said, I came here in US in 2023. So I came with my husband and my son. He was 26 months old while we came here. So now he is already like almost 4. He will be 4 this March. So it's been wonderful journey. So whenever you come with your family, you will never be alone. So that's a plus point. About my process, it was pretty smooth. Once after I passed my NCLEX examination, I did my NCLEX from NCLEX Nepal, and then they connected me with AMN International. It was Connectics USA before. So I got chance to talk to Sarah, who used to work in this agency, and then she helped me with job interview, job placement. I used to work in pediatric and birthing. So I heard that it will be pretty hard to get a job in that maternity department, like women's and children and pediatric. But then luckily I got chance to attend job interview for women's and children department in Sanford Bemidji. So I did my job interview. It went well. I got job offer from here. So I chose Bemidji because of hospital, because it's like kind of relevant related to my previous exposure. So I did not make a second option or second choice. So I just came here. I passed my NCLEX in 2022 April, and then I did my visa interview in 2023 April. So it took me like a year for the whole process after I passed my NCLEX examination. So it was pretty good amount of time. It was not a lot. And then I think after that April, we had this retrogression issues. So luckily I got chance to come before that. So that was my journey. And then if you are coming with your family, you don't have to stress a lot about that. If you have your husband, if you have a kid, it's like there is some issues, there will be some issues or challenges coming in, but you don't need to worry about that. Everything will go well. The education system here is so good. Like my son was 26 months old, like he was below 5 years, so you can attend different like community program, early childhood program. You don't have to worry about education for baby, you don't have to worry about health care system for baby, because it's you have to pay for insurance, but you don't have to worry about like you have to pay money right away at the time of treatment. So if you're coming with your family, you don't have to make a like second thought about that, just come.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Susmita. You both said a lot of very interesting stuff that I want to dig into, but I did just want to say I have a 2-year-old and a 8-month-old, and I am so impressed with you both traveling at 6 months and bringing your 26-month-old. I know how difficult that must have been. So, you're both testaments that it can be done, but I am very impressed on a personal level. But I'm sure clearly it was a good decision and a good move. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that. You both said something that I just want to clarify for our audience. So Lydia came with OGP, which is the staffing arm of our AMN Healthcare International. And Susmita came with Kinetics, which is our direct hire arm with AMN International. So it's a little bit of a different process. And if you've watched our shows before, we go into a lot of detail about staffing and about direct hire. And we'll actually drop the link in the chat in one of our shows comparing both. But if you're watching along and you're thinking, oh man, what does that mean exactly? It just means that staffing, the employer, will be the agency. So OGP will be the agency. And when you're doing direct hire, it means that the US healthcare facility will be the employer. So it's just a little bit different. But both ways will get you to the US. And if you have an offer from either at this point, we would highly recommend that you take that and you start your journey towards coming to America. But that's a different topic for a different show. Today, we are focusing on Lydia and Susmita, and we are here to hear all about their journey. So Lydia, you mentioned why you wanted to come to the US. You said something about the healthcare system being a different standard, a better standard. Were there any other reasons that you wanted to move to the US?
Not really. It was just about a change, and then I wanted a better place.
That makes sense. Totally makes sense. You wanted a better place. I'm sure when you were pregnant and you're thinking about your future, like my parents, you wanted a better life for your child. So that definitely makes sense. What about you, Susmita? What made you want to move to the United States?
So being a citizen of like third world country, I think there are so many people who always want to come to like America. Like, I don't know, people always dream of living that American dream life. So I'm one of the people from there. So I started working, like I started nursing since like 2050, and then I worked in like government hospital and then one of the central hospital, but I always felt like there is some lack of job satisfaction regarding pay. I mean, I was earning good amount for my country, but after having baby, what I felt is it's not everything. So I also have to think about my like son's future, and then even in like nursing career, there is not like broad scope of nursing in Nepal. But it's like it's good here. You can go to like either like different sectors in nursing. There is opportunities in every field. Like if you want to go to child, if you want to go to moms and babies, if you want to go to matures or geriatric, or you want to do nursing practitioner, like there are so many scope of nursing here. So that is one thing. And then there is like better job opportunities here. The pay rate is high. There is like sense of freedom here. There are so many things which I think that influence most of the people in third world countries. So and recently, like after last maybe like 5 6 7 years, there are so many Nepalese nurses coming to US, and then I was kind of influenced by that too. So I decided to come to US after having my baby. And then EB3 visa is like a kind of a visa process for NCLEX nursing. So that also provides you green card, and then you don't have to worry about like work permit and everything. Your family will, like your immediate family, husband, child, they will get green card too. So you don't have to worry about a lot of things if you come here with NCLEX nursing, like EB3 visa. That's why I chose US, and I'm happy about that.
Thank you for sharing, Susmita. I've been doing this for quite a few years now, and I hear from a lot of nurses the same thing. They're looking for a better life for themselves and their family. They're looking for better pay, more opportunity. So sounds like for both of you, those were big reasons why you came to America. Can you, Lydia, I'm going to start with you. Can you talk about what your experience was like with AMN during the transition and how AMN supported you while you were coming to the US?
Yeah. Personally, I have my 5 observations that I've made. One, technically, their sense of organization, right from the orientation, grouping us into cohorts per month, and then the process, went through the process stage by stage to pass your NCLEX, and then completing the immigration process, and then finally relocating to the United States with a job offer. Secondly, I will talk about employee recognition, whereby periodically they call us on phone to access how we are doing, and then there are periodic visitations. One time we got the opportunity to talk to the hospital nursing director. I wasn't expecting it. The HR representatives, the chief nursing officers, I was very grateful about that. Moreover, I'm going to talk about employee empowerment. Why do I say that? You come with your green card, you come with your family, you come with health insurance, you come with a job offer, you come with your accommodation ready for you. Thirdly, fourthly, I'll talk about flexibility in terms of our schedule, in terms of asking for vacation, doing overtime, and then even the float pool, going to the various departments. Me, for instance, I've worked in about 16 departments, and I'm very grateful for that exposure. And then lastly, about the teamwork and then their networking. They have so many reps within the AMN concerning clinical money, clinical experience, housing, whatever you want to think about. And then when it comes to the networking, there was one time I had an issue with my health insurance enrollment. I just reached out to Amy, and then Amy quickly linked me to the health insurance office. And then this issue that had been pending for a year, it took just 1 week for it to be resolved. Secondly, I would like to recommend or acknowledge Kelly Elwood. With all our clinical conflicts, she's just a good mediator, very good one. The issue will just be resolved nicely, amicably, and then everybody is satisfied. That is what I'll say about AMA.
I know you couldn't see my face, Lydia, while you were talking, but I was like this the whole time. That makes me so happy to hear. I'm so happy to hear that you felt so supported and empowered during your journey. That's really our goal for all of our nurses. And I'm so happy to hear that you felt really like you had AMN by your side. Because it can be a very, very scary process, especially if you're bringing your family, if you're bringing your children. So thank you for summing it up so beautifully, Lydia. What about you, Sushmita? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience working with AMN and how AMN supported you during the transition?
I'm like 100% agree with what Lydia said. AMN Nursing, AMN International, it's been wonderful throughout my NCLEX journey. After I passed my NCLEX, like I said, I talked to Sarah for my job placement and everything. She helped me with like preparing a resume, sending that to like different hospitals, and then she was so helpful with that process. And after that, my case expert was Mary Jen Portalio. I still remember her name. She was my expert, and then she was so patient, and then she was always by my side, like there are like so many processes in between, that she was always there for me to like answer my questions. I did have so many queries about the process. She was such a good case expert. And then after that process was done, like after my visa interview, my onboarding specialist was Crystal, and then I was still in contact with Crystal. And the good thing about Crystal is, and I need to say that I heard that after I come here, I heard that one of the Nepalese nurses coming to our place. So I talked to her, because AMN also provides a community liaison who helps us to like from helps us in picking up from airport, helping with housing, moving in, going to groceries. Like for the first few days, they help us with our transition. And then I did know that like there is no one community liaison in Bemidji. So I talked to her, like if my husband can work as a community liaison, and then she said okay, yes. And she was so excited and happy, because there was no one, like no community liaison for Bemidji. And then my husband got that offer, so he worked as community liaison for AMN International for like uh, I think since May or June, but then there is no nurse coming in for now. So he is a still community liaison for nurses who come to Bemidji. So that is another thing. And John, who was my community liaison for that process, and he came from North Dakota. So there was like I don't have any complaint towards AMN International. It helped me and my family throughout my process. It was so smooth. I didn't have to worry about like anything. She used to tell me, okay, we need this, and then I just had to like prepare my part. Otherwise I didn't have to worry about like what's gonna happen next, what I need to do. Like I didn't have to worry about that. So AMN nursing has been like always there for me. And even I have not heard anything about AMN International, like any like let's say like bad reviews from my friends who are here in Bemidji. It helped us like throughout the process. And to be honest, once I got a chance to talk to the person from AMN International, I didn't even like think about any other agencies, because after having a baby, your mom's brain does not work 100%. So I didn't want to like take a stress and talk to like other people and then like compare everything. So I don't regret about that too. So it was like wonderful journey.
That is amazing to hear. I definitely did a little chuckle when you said mom brain is just single focused, as I think we all can agree. But
And
it's
my
nice.
friend, like my friend from Nepal, like there are so many nurses who are like doing the same processing from different agencies, and then they used to ask me, how is this agency, how is that agency? And I'm like, I just know about AMN. Don't
Well,
ask me
if
about other
something
things.
works, why break it, right?
Yeah. Because I didn't know about any other agencies, and then I couldn't even like take that stress, like talk to different people and then like compare everything and then decide. So
Well, it sounds like you didn't even need to, because it all worked
yeah,
out. And now here you are a year and a half later, and
yeah.
you're living your life. So that's so good to hear. I'm so glad to hear that you 100% agree with Lydia, and you also felt supported, and like AMN was there for you, and we were able to get you here. Thank you both for those kind words and for mentioning all of the people that you worked with. I know I'm personally going to go back after our show and make sure to go thank all of those people and make sure they know that they got a shout out. So that's very special. So I see that we have some questions in the chat. Before we deep dive into both of your lives in Rhode Island and in Minnesota, I want to take a couple of questions. So Elvis, I see that you're asking a question about the link to apply. So we're going to drop the link for that, the link in the chat. It's amnhealthcare.com/international. And that is for both direct hire and staffing. So if you are contacted by a recruiter for one arm or the other, you can discuss with your recruiter which might be a good fit for you. I do see a question from Axe, who's asking about the process and how long it took. And I also see a question, or rather a comment, about how frustrating retrogression is. Lydia and Sushmita, I'm sure you've heard from a lot of people how frustrating retrogression is and how they felt that you are very lucky because you had a much faster processing. I just want to give you both an opportunity to touch on, I think both of you probably got here in maybe a year, maybe two, but really to touch on what you tell any friends or family or colleagues who come to you with frustration about retrogression. Do you still think it's worth coming to the United States? Should they still persevere? Sushmita, I'm going to start with you on this one.
To be honest, I don't have much idea about like this retrogression because I came here before that, but I do have my like very close friend who are like done with everything and then they're just waiting for visa interview. So it's obviously frustrating. Even like if you have to wait for like 1 month or 2 months, it's frustrating. But then if you have to wait for like I don't know how many months or years, if that is unknown, then it's definitely frustrating for them. So if somebody come and talk to me, I mean, I usually say like, if you don't want to go to like other country, or if you want to just come to US, then just keep on working. I usually suggest them to like learn driving during this time, try to learn swimming because I mean, even I don't know swimming, and then in my country, like most of the people, they don't know swimming. So after coming here, I realized the importance of swimming. Like everyone knows swimming here, so you can learn swimming before coming here. You can work on your language, like accent and everything. You can work on that. So I try to like help them with some information like what we can do before coming here, if they don't want to like go to the other option. So I usually tell them those things like, don't take stress, try to work on other different things that will eventually help you with the transition after coming here. I also suggest them to like watch TikTok videos of like USRN nurses, how they work, what is their experience regarding working in US. So I usually suggest them those basic things.
Okay, thank you, Sushmita. I think that's really good advice for our nurses who might be frustrated. Do something that's going to help you while you're waiting. You're going to get to America eventually. Retrogression doesn't mean that you're not going to get here. It just means it's going to take a little bit longer. And like Sushmita said, better yourself in all of the areas that you can. Learn a new skill, get more experience in your nursing, make sure that you are bedside, pass your NCLEX, pass your IELTS. There are lots of things that you can do with this time while you're in this waiting period. Lydia, what about you? Any words of advice?
Yeah, honestly, I also buy into the idea of learning a skill before, something like driving, swimming, working on your accent, something I didn't do before coming. So I'm still struggling with that. However, with retrogression, AMN is very clean in that because it's about the embassy or immigration. It's not an issue with AMN. I was lucky to come before the era of the immigration, so I don't really have much to say, but I know a lot of people were really frustrated. People finished their exams before I did, but they were affected by the retrogression. What I would like to say is that what matters is the end result, because when you come in here, things are very good. The opportunities are here. I mean, the standard of practice is there. You're gonna like it. It's something I'm really enjoying, and I don't know how to express my joy to the world about AMN and their job offers or working in America's US RN. So what I would say is that for retrogression, it's just an issue with the immigration, not AMN. So you cannot really blame AMN or OGP for that.
Well, thank you, Lydia. I think that's a really good way to put it because I know everybody feels very frustrated, including myself. I wish that I just had a magic wand that I could go, well, bam, and the floodgates were open and it was easy and everybody could just come. But unfortunately, I don't control the government, although that would be fun if I did. And it's not something that unfortunately we can control. The only thing that we can do, like you said, Lydia, is to be transparent and be honest with our nurses and make sure that you're getting all of the information that you need. And that's really, I know it's my personal goal, and that's really our goal at AMN, is to make sure that all our nurses have the information they need. So you can also check out once a month, we do an immigration update where we spend an hour with expert attorneys taking your questions. It's free advice. We discuss the visa bulletin. So make sure to check that out if you're watching along and you are curious about retrogression and the visa bulletin. So let's go back to both of you and talk about where you live. Can you tell us a little bit about your city, where the nearest big city is, the closest airport? Sushmita, let's start with you.
So I live in Bemidji. It is one like small town in Minnesota. It's in Minnesota. It's in the northern side, like northern part of US, and our northern border is connected with Canada, and then the other side, North Dakota, South Dakota. So it's like more over snowy part. So we do have pretty bad snow. After I signed my job offer, so I talked to one of my friend who used to live in North Dakota, and I asked her like, I got job offer from Minnesota, should I say yes or no? And she said, the only bad thing about Minnesota is snow. Otherwise, there is like good nursing union, like nursing association. So and the pay was good. So she said like, yeah, you can go for it. Otherwise, the half of the US, like you will find snow anywhere you go in the like northern side. So I said yes for this. But then the first winter, it was kind of okay. It was not very good for us, but it was okay for this place. But then this year, the winter is like it feels like it's never ending. Started from November and it's still snowing. So I'm hoping the summer will come soon. So working in Minnesota, in my part, there is not much population here. It's like a small town which has like pretty good number of lakes around. uh, it's not much crowded, so driving itself is easy here because of like not overcrowded population. Everything is like in a walking distance. Even like where I'm staying right now, it's like just 7 minutes of walking distance. All the shopping centers are like around our housing. Like Walmart is pretty close, Target, like everything is pretty close. There is like driving what is that driving license center. It's also pretty close here. It's uh, I didn't have driving license while I came here, so I did my knowledge test, and then I had to wait for 3 months to to do my road test. So if somebody comes here, like from a different country, somebody comes here with driving license, their own driving license from their own country, I think they can drive with their own license for 60 or 90 days. So the plus point of your own driving license, if you come here with a driving license, that is the plus point. um, what is the other thing? And my hospital, it's like Sanford Health of Northern Minnesota, the main office is. And then it does have like different hospital in different places, mostly on the northern side. It has few hospitals in North Dakota, in South Dakota, and then in Minnesota. I think it has like somewhere between 100 to 200 bed. I try to find, it says like 118 bed here. So it's not like very big hospital, but it's a good size hospital. uh, uh, and it also like provide services to like mostly the rural area here. So I got chance to meet like patient from like especially Native American patients. So I'm like exploring different culture here. It was pretty hard for the first few months. I mean, I'm still struggling with exploring those things, trying to learn different like new things regarding culture, like even culture, food cultures, uh, different percept what is that, like the way of thinking of people here. So it's pretty different here. So so far it's going good. Anywhere you go in US, it's not always the big cities or like tall buildings. So don't expect that whenever you are like when you are planning to come to US is, it has big cities, and mostly it also has like small towns, residential areas, um, lots of lakes. Some places has like mountains, um, state parks a lot. So that's all.
Well, there you go. So I think you touched on a lot of really important topics there, Sushmita. You talked about diversity and driving and culture shock and a lot of stuff that I really want to get into as we talk a little bit deeper. But thank you for sharing your experience. Lydia, can you tell us a little bit about where you live? You know, what's there to do? What's the closest airport, closest city? Anything you could share with our viewers?
Well, I am in New England, one of the New England states called Rhode Island. Rhode Island, uh, in the northeastern region of America. Well, before I came here, I decided I wanted the smallest state in America because I didn't want a crowded or city life. I wanted some kind of peace, and truly, that's what I got. So I spoke to couple of family friends in America already, and then 3 out of 5 recommended Rhode Island. That is how come I found myself here. Rhode Island is also a historical region or state for America. I learned that was this is where Christopher Columbus first entered America. However, where I live also has a lot of lakes, water bodies around. Um, the weather here is not as bad as where my other colleague is coming from. They have the usual winter, which is cold with snow. They have their spring. They have their falls, the summer falls, and then I realized for the rain, it's cut across the whole year. They don't have specific season for rain in where I come from. And then the hospital that I work with, the medical surgical unit or department is very big. They have about 750 beds for medical surgical. And it's also a trauma C center for Rhode Island, and it's one of the best in the New England state. The closest city I have here is Massachusetts. I've only been there once just to visit a family friend, but I didn't actually go for a tour or for any recreational purposes. Back to where I live. I live in a small city called Pawtucket. I have almost everything within proximity in terms of shopping, school, church, recreational centers, park. My workplace is just 8 to 10 minutes drive. And it's a very serene place, fresh air, nice people. So that's the little thing I'll talk about. I have to say about Rhode Island.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Lydia. I loved that picture spanning the whole of Rhode Island. I've heard that the color changing the leaves in New England is very beautiful. Have you experienced that yet?
Yes, very beautiful.
Yeah, that's one of my bucket list items in life is to get over to Rhode Island and see the leaves changing color. So if you are just joining us now, we have Nurse Lydia, who is in Rhode Island, and Nurse Sushmita, who is in Minnesota. And if you've seen the map of the United States is a huge place. You get many different cultures, climates, states. I'm over in California, so me and Lydia are on complete opposite sides, and Sushmita is somewhere in the middle. And it would take a long time. You couldn't drive. You would have to fly to both. And that's just the beauty of the United States. There is so much to do, so much to see, a lot going on. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Sushmita, what made you decide to go to Minnesota?
For Minnesota, like I said, I did not have much idea about like Minnesota, because um, being on like non-Americans, we usually like hear California, Texas, New York, um, Baltimore, like those kind of places from there. So I didn't have much idea that Minnesota is also the state in US. And then after while I was preparing for my job interview, I got to know about Minnesota, and then I searched in Google. I talked to my friend. So what I got to know about Minnesota is like about the nursing association and the pay rate here. And then one good thing about Minnesota is like it says Minnesota nice. So people here, I found people here are pretty nice. Like they are good. Uh, like they people here like talk to us like in a very good way. They're pretty helpful. I have noticed that, like I have even experienced that in my workplace. They're always like ready to help. So that's a good thing about Minnesota. So I searched and I got information regarding those things. So that's why I came here in Minnesota. I didn't have like any pre-plan. Like I just wanted to go. I wanted to come to Minnesota, but after I got my job, I started searching about this place. Um, but the only hardest part for me now is the snow, the weather. Because I'm from the place I hadn't seen snow before coming here, so it's getting hard for me. But I'm getting used to it. But probably like after this 3 years, I will probably move to like different state. So and in my place in Bemidji, there is not like much multicultural community, so it's hard to find our community people. We have like few Nepalese people here, four nurses. We came here, like Nepalese nurse came through AMN International, and then there are two Nepalese doctor now. So we do have like pretty decent amount of Nepalese population right now. But since I have kid, I need like other parents, like Nepalese parents, so that I can make like good connection with them. So that is the only problem for now. Otherwise, it's going all good.
Okay, that totally makes sense. Sounds like you were a little bit flexible when you were deciding on where to come to the US, and maybe you just decided, I want to come to the US and I'll see what positions are open for me, which I think is a pretty good way to actually get going. Because, like we've said, the US is a huge place. There's lots of opportunity all over. So, there's a question from Travel with Nelson who's asking about the cost of living. Sushmita, can you tell us about the cost of living in Minnesota? I'm not sure if you've traveled around the US, but have you found it to be a reasonable or low cost of living?
Uh, I don't have much idea about like overall Minnesota. Um, since this is the small city, and the cost of living, the first thing, the pay rate is good in Minnesota, like in comparison to like different other state. The housing, it you can find like a one bedroom apartment from like 700 around, and then even like townhouse, you can get good townhouse within like 1300 around. So it's the cost of housing is not like the apartment and rental housing, it's not that high. Otherwise, groceries, I don't have much idea if this is expensive or if this is okay. But if you're earning like a good amount, I think it's okay. I don't know. I can't say if this is expensive or if this is like okay. But I heard that people saying that the cost of groceries is like increasing every day. So maybe it's expensive, but overall the cost of living in Bemidji is, it's normal, it's affordable. I don't understand normal, but it's affordable. Because I have heard from my friend that they're paying even the double amount of money just for two bedroom, like above 2000, 2500, 3000 something. So comparison, in comparison to those states, is pretty affordable. I'm not sure about like other places in Minnesota, but if you're living in a like small town, it should be all okay, like it should be all affordable, but I'm not sure about the like big towns and cities.
Well, I did a little bit of research right before I came on, and I actually saw that I did a little cost of living analysis between St. Paul, which is not where you live, but it is the capital of Minnesota, versus Manhattan, New York. And I found that it's 145% higher to live in Manhattan, New York. Housing costs are much higher. Food costs, entertainment costs, healthcare, transportation, all much higher to live in a major metropolitan city. So I think very interesting to hear that the cost of living, as I would have expected, is much more affordable. And I'm sure being in a more rural part of Minnesota, even more affordable than being in a major city. What about you, Lydia? I know you've mentioned reasons why you wanted to come to Rhode Island. You mentioned that it was a smaller state. You were looking for a little bit of a more tight-knit community. Are there any other reasons that you decided to go to Rhode Island, and did the cost of living play into your decision at all?
Um, First of all, I'll say the rates that I got also was very good. I had multiple interviews anyway, but then the rate in Rhode Island was much better. However, when I got here, I realized the cost of living was high. But thankfully, the pay and the cost of living is being balanced, or is balancing for me. Not much, not that bad. Sorry. My rent for now, I used to be in a one bedroom apartment, which was going for like 15 to 1600. And then right now I moved to a two bedroom apartment, which is now 1800 for me, which is not that crazy.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Lydia. I also did a cost comparison between Rhode Island and New
Yeah.
York because I was curious. And I found that New York was a much higher cost of living. It was 103% higher to live in New York than it is in Providence, Rhode Island. So, of course, a little bit more more affordable to live in the Midwest, where Sushmita is living, but still much more affordable than maybe a major metropolitan city to live in Providence, Rhode Island. So I thought that was very interesting. So I see we have a lot of new faces who are joining us and saying hello. So I wanted to say hi to Svitsky, who's watching from the UK. We have Chikanyana, who's watching from Botswana. We have Fwaba, who's watching from Kenya. Hello to everybody. Destined for Good, joining from Ghana. We have a lot of faces who are watching from all around the world. So thank you all for joining us. Oh, you got a neighbor, Lydia, someone in New England. So thank you all for joining us today. If you have any questions for Lydia and Sushmita, please feel free to put them in the chat. We will take as many questions as we can. So Sushmita, you've been in the US for now about a year and a half. Have you done any fun traveling in your state? What's been your favorite place that you've been to?
Yeah, I got chance to travel to different places like last summer because it's hard to travel in winter. So last summer I went to Duluth like multiple times. It's a beautiful place. It's like one of the uh, tourist destination maybe for US, like from different other states. It's pretty good. There is like Lake Superior, one of the greatest lake in the world, so you can visit there if you come to Minnesota. I went to Fargo and Sioux Falls. Fargo is our like neighbor state. Like North Dakota is our neighbor state, and then Fargo is one of the closest city from another state. So you can go to Fargo. It's like 2.5 hours of driving. So I went there, and there is like Nepalese restaurant and Nepalese grocery store in Fargo. So we don't have any Nepalese store here, so we usually go to Fargo for grocery shopping if we have to buy something specific. And I also went to St. Louis, Missouri. My friend from Nepal, she lives there, so I went to different places there. I got chance to go to that Gateway Arc which was so amazing. It was so tall and amazing. So and then I also went to Kansas. I went to Kansas State University premises. I didn't go to like other places in Kansas. My relatives lives there. They are studying in Kansas State University. I love that place too. So apart from that, yeah, I went to those places last summer. So that was pretty good experience. We did a long drive to Missouri. That was our first long drive, and unfortunately, while coming back to Bemidji, we got into a car accident. Luckily, nothing happened to us, but we have to do like total for our car, and then we had to buy another car again. So that was funny but
Oh,
sad incident.
no. Oh, no. Well, I guess maybe it sounds like one of those things that you can laugh about after, but I'm sure it wasn't so fun in the moment. Well, I'm glad that you're all okay. And sounds
Yeah.
like you got to explore a lot of different places last summer. So that's pretty amazing that you had so many places accessible to you. And I loved those pictures. I love that picture right by the arch in St. Louis. I've been there as well, and it is amazing to see.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing. What about you, Lydia? Have you got to do any travels around your state or around the US? What's been your favorite?
Not very much, but then I've been to the Newport Ferry in Rhode Island,
Hmm.
which is having a beautiful ocean. They also have a museum for the ferry, historical places over there. Unfortunately, the day we were going, there was a lot of traffic. We didn't plan very well. We didn't check about that. So we couldn't spend much time over there, but at least we enjoyed the summer heat at the beach. We met a lot of people. We had some food from their restaurant, seafood, which was very nice. And then secondly, we went to the US Capitol, and not much to say about my tourism or maybe expeditions, I would say, in United States. I'm planning more in the future.
Well, you do also have a young child.
Yep.
So I think that is very fair as somebody who has a young child and doesn't want to leave home because it's just harder.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, but I'm sure you will have
Mhm.
plenty of time to explore. And sounds very
Absolutely.
beautiful. Even just where you are, I'm sure is beautiful. Just to see
Yeah.
the four seasons and the leaves
Yeah.
change and all of that. So thank you for sharing, Lydia. So I
All
see
right.
we have a question from Faith. Faith is asking, what are the challenges the two nurses faced as new immigrants? So I know you both mentioned the diversity. You're both in small places. Susmita, maybe we could start with you. How did you handle, being in a small town, maybe not as much diversity, and any other challenges that you faced during your process of coming to the United States?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. Like coming to US as US RN, it's an opportunity itself, but it always comes with lots of challenges and limitations. The first thing, as soon as you come here, is like a culture differences. That is a barrier for us. Language different. Even if we know English, we have studied English a little bit there. The accent is different, so language barrier is there for sure. The other thing is while working in a hospital, documentation, it's a different. Personally, I used to do like paper and pen documentation, like we just used to use our write down all our documentation, but here it's like computerized, so you have to learn whole different thing. uh, so that's the other thing. Food culture is different here. Like for me, I do have like, I'm from Hinduism, so I don't eat beef. It's from my cultural part. But then people here eat beef a lot. It's so common here. So while I shared this thing to my colleague, they were like so surprised, like why can't you eat beef? So there is that food culture differences. Um, so since I'm in a very small town here, so we don't have like access to our like Nepalese groceries market or Asian market here, so you can find everything here. So that is one other challenges. If you are coming with your family, like if you are coming with your spouse, you have to find job for your spouse, and then if your spouse does not have like any technical academic background, it's hard to get the similar kind of job. If you are coming with your baby, you have to work on finding preschool or school for them, because it can like it's good here, but it's totally different from other countries. So you have to do lots of research before starting your school. So I think those are some of the major challenges, and there are still like challenges coming in on my way. So I'm just trying to figure out and deal with that.
That makes sense. I'm sure Lydia was sitting there going like this the whole time, because I think those are challenges that a lot of international nurses and even just immigrants in general face. It's difficult when you're coming to a new place, and especially if you're coming with your family, it's like a double-edged sword. You know that you're coming with your family, so you have that built-in support system, but you're also worrying about them as well. Sushmita, how did AMN help you with any of those challenges, and how did you go about finding a support network when you moved here?
While I come here, I so before I come here, I already knew like two Nepalese friends from Nepal. So I used to talk to them. They also did their processing from AMN International, and then um, onboarding specialist Crystal, she helped a lot with like preparing us for transition. Like we have to do this and that. She used to give us like a whole list of things that we have to prepare, and about housing. The even like the hospital HR department, they helped us with like the information, like how to find apartment before coming here. Like there was like a whole information about like how to find school for kids, how to find job for a spouse. Like they used to give us websites, like you can go there and find the job. And there was Joan from North Dakota, who was my community liaison. I mentioned that before. So he helped us with most of the things here. Even like when you come here with your kid, the first thing you need to think about is car seat. It's like very small thing, but car seat is very necessary for a smaller kid. So I talked to John, and he was so sweet. He bought like a car seat for us and then made that ready before we come here. So that is one of the like kind gesture from his side. And after we landed here, we like the Crystal, she was in like she was in contact with us. And I mentioned that before, that she helped my husband to get that community liaison job, which is part-time, but anyway he got like job for AMN International. um, and then HR department, they were so nice towards like all of us, like international nurses. They helped us with the necessary things. And also in my hospital, there is education center. They were pretty like nice. They were accepting and understanding towards like regarding our indifferences. So it was it was nice from AMN International side. They helped us a lot throughout the journey.
Thank you for all of the examples, Sushmita. I'm glad to hear that you felt supported. I think with culture shock, sometimes it comes at different times. My grandma moved to America 5 years ago, and I think she's experiencing culture shock right now. It's like this, goes up and down and up and down. So it can be very difficult when you move to a new place. And
Can I add something? So you said like cultural shock can come
Mhm.
anytime. So
Mhm.
it's been like 1.5 years, and my son started going preschool like last year. So
Mhm.
and then so in preschool they used to like do different activities. Like sometimes they do Christmas activities and Valentine's, and I'm like, what should I do now?
Well, you're learning all the new things.
Yeah, and then once my son told me like, can you teach me Christmas song dance? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, he's so cute. Well, I'm sure
And
he's loving the snow.
he is loving snow. He says like, I told him that winter is going away now. I think summer is coming back. I'm so excited. He said like, I don't like hot. I like cold.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, there you go. You've got a fan of a white Christmas over there. So you never know how your family is going to react to moving and how everybody's going to feel, and how it's going to change. Because as I think we all know, you go through waves. Lydia, I know we're almost at time, but I want to give you an opportunity also to just share if there's been any specific challenges that you've faced since moving to the US and how you've kind of overcome them.
Actually, at the beginning, I didn't experience any shock. Before you come, they give you the auto loans for you to make your choices, informed decision about that. So I had my plans. When I got here, within the first week, I got my car. My apartment was superb, so very comfortable. The liaison officer was helping us around town. My first 2 weeks was in the classroom orientation, which was good. The teachers were good. And then when I got to the ward or the floor, that is where the shock started. One, the accent alone were putting some workers off. I don't know, their reactions were so bad. And I felt so intimidated because it was like they were doubting our integrity or credibility in terms of the work. Because if you are not able to express yourself well when you talk and they don't really get you, it's an issue. So the only motivation I had that time was my nursing managers, because for them, when I talk, they don't do like, can you repeat yourself? What did you say? They don't do that. And then secondly, my clinical manager from AMN, that is Kelly Elwood. Anytime we go for an assessment and then I mention to them that, oh, okay, so these are my areas of weakness, she usually sent me materials, videos, or links for me to make a revision on that, to just help me with the adjustment. And so one other thing was the floating system. I have no idea what it is. Today you go to work, they say, oh, you are going to this floor, you are going to this floor. And my goodness, the shock keeps coming and coming and coming until they started following us, coming to visit us, calling, checking on us. And then I also got to know American system is not like back home we're being spoon fed or like, oh, okay, this is how we do it. Over here, it is do it yourself. You need to learn at a very fast pace. You need speed to catch up with the policies, the protocols, the standard for you to get adjusted or used to the system. Otherwise, every day you wake up with the post-traumatic syndrome before you go to work. It's not been easy. And I love my patients. No, none of my patients ever complain about my accent. So grateful about that. The patients are so respectful. So that is one area of my fulfillment when I go to work.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Lydia. I think you touched on a lot of stuff that can be difficult for international nurses when they're coming to the US, and also some good advice on how to, keep up, how to keep pace, how to better yourself. Also some good ideas for nurses who might be watching at home right now and thinking, I want to come to the US, but it's going to be a long road. You had some good advice on what they could be doing right now, working on how they're speaking and getting more prepared with the U.S. clinical practices. Like you said, it's very different. So I think those are all really, really good pieces of advice. So I know
one more thing.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. In terms of the culture, like cultural diversity here, I didn't have much problem because I realized they have a lot of multicultural flavors in terms of the shades of complexion. You have dark, black to white. I have no issue with that. I was familiar with almost all the food or cuisines they sell at the restaurant. And then I'm able to get every kind of African food in Rhode Island. So I don't think I'm gonna move out of Rhode Island. That's
Even
one of
in
the
a
things that
small
is
state,
keeping
you
me
got all
here.
these options.
Yeah, I have everything here.
That's amazing. That's so
You're
wonderful to
you're
hear.
lucky
That's
with that
awesome.
thing.
Very lucky.
That's
Here
very
we don't,
amazing.
in my place we don't have like Nepalese restaurant or even Indian restaurant. We have to go to Fargo or Minneapolis for that. So you're lucky.
Yeah. I love to cook. So anytime I go to work and it's like they want to comment about the food, I'll say, "How did you get this?" I said, "I have time. I get time to shop for
Mm,
food."
mm. Well, I guess every place that you go, there's the good parts and the parts that you have to adjust to, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we're ending on a positive note. And I know we got lots of viewers. I see people joining us still. Ellen from New York, from New Ireland, Northern Ireland. Oh my gosh. Praises from Nigeria. And Praises is actually asking a good question. Do you guys offer H-1B visas? Praises, I'm going to get back to you in about 1 minute. I just want to give Lydia and Sushmita one final minute to share some words of encouragement for nurses who might be watching around the world. What's one final piece of advice that you want to leave our nurses who are watching with? Sushmita, we'll start with you.
Final, I mean, there are so many things. Even if you're processing for NCLEX or NCLEX journey, you will be you will experience those things. The good thing about coming here, like regarding work, you will get enough orientation. You will get you to have enough resources to be reached out. There are lots of like resources you can refer to. You to have educator here. uh, um, you will get enough trainings that you need while you are working. We do have associations like nursing associations, so if you have any issue you can voice your concern. And then I think USA is like land of opportunities. That's true. You just need to learn skills and upgrade yourself. You will get good opportunities here. Work-life balance is, I think, it's better than what I did have before. So there are lots of good thing here. So if you are planning, if you are thinking about coming to US, you can proceed for that. AMN International is always there for you. It's always like it will help you with every steps in this NCLEX journey. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact AMN International. So if you have dream, I mean, we did it, so you will also do that if you really want to come here. It's difficult, but it's possible. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you for that, Sushmita. You know, you reminded me of a quote from one of my favorite movies from Tom Hanks. I think we have a graphic with the quote. Otherwise, I'm probably going to butcher it. So we're going to pull it up. It says, "If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. It's the hard that makes it great." I think
Yeah.
that moment that you touch down on the US soil and you realize, wow, I did it. That's a pretty amazing moment. I was 8 when I came, and I will never forget that moment. So I think you hit the nail on the head. It's something that's so worth the journey. Not always easy, but it's worth the hard.
And then before I go, I just want to add another thing. So as I said, it's land of opportunity. If you come to any of the state, any of the hospital, and if you think it's not working good, you do have other opportunities. So you can move to different state. If nothing worked, you do have like work. You do have green card here. If you don't want to leave, you can always go back to your country. It's like a complete legal process. Everything is good. So you do have lots of opportunities. So you don't have to like make yourself feel down. You can just try for other opportunities here. If you come here, you don't have to worry about just a single thing. So
That makes sense. Thank you for sharing, Susmita. And Lydia, over to you. What's one final piece of advice you have for global nurses who are
Okay.
watching us
I
today?
strongly side with both of you. However, I would like to start with the spirit of America. One thing I noticed is America trusts in God. They have strong policies. You need to be hardworking to enjoy. Moreover, recently I came across this data that says nursing profession has been the highest or most trusted profession in America for 23 consecutive years. That tells you America or AMN or US RNs, the system is not anywhere near to compromise with their professional ethics. So, my fellow prospective US RNs, don't forget about the code of ethics, your nursing process, and then you need to be open-minded for any professional development. And then above all, I'll say thank you, AMN, thank you, OGP, for making my dream come true.
Thank you, Lydia. That warms my heart. Thank you for sharing that. I really love seeing the pictures of both of your children. I think they are so cute and so beautiful, and it really is just a testament to, you know, this American dream and what you have both been working for, what my parents worked for, to give our children more opportunity, a better life, and you know, a safe place to grow up. So thank you both so much for taking the time today to be with us and to answer some questions. You were both very inspiring, and we loved hearing about your journey. So thank you both so much for being on today. If you are joining us and you are curious about opportunities to come to the United States with AMN Healthcare, we're going to drop the link in the chat where you can apply, amnhealthcare.com/international. And if you are looking for an opportunity that might be a faster opportunity and a unique opportunity, I saw we had a question from Praises about the H-1B visa. We are doing a big hiring event for H-1Bs for RNs for direct hire only for an employer in Tennessee. The specialties needed are ED, step down, critical care, med surg. The requirements: you need to have a BSN, you need to have an NCLEX pass, English pass, PTE is not accepted, and a minimum of 2 years of current experience. Important to note, you must not be committed to another employer, and you must not have filed for an EB-3. This is an amazing, very unique opportunity. H-1Bs are not available widely across the United States, but this is a unique opportunity that our employer, Methodist Le Bonheur in Tennessee, has. And if you're interested in learning more about Methodist, you can check out our show from yesterday. We'll drop the link in the chat, and you can learn all about Methodist. They are very, very impressive. It's an amazing opportunity for a nurse who meets all of those requirements. So once again, we're going to drop the link in the chat. It's amnhealthcare.com/international. Apply today. Our recruiters are on hand, ready, and waiting. And we would love to help you take advantage of this amazing opportunity. So let's bring up our schedule for our future shows in upcoming weeks. Our shows are 7 to 8 Pacific Standard Time. On March 14th, we have an immigration Q&A with legal experts. So bring your questions. It's free advice. March 18th, we have our LaFora talk show. And March 28th, we're going to be talking to some Daisy Award winners who are extraordinary nurses. We're going to hear all about their journeys and why they were awarded Daisy Awards. So thank you all for being here with us today. We are going to play a short clip of some of our new arrivals. Hopefully you've been inspired by our show, and we hope to help you reach your American dream as well. Onwards and upwards, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.